Hello. Today we are going to look at Surds, but before we continue, you can first subscribe, like after the video. So Surds is what we are going to look at today, which is a continuation of the indices. So the first thing to look at is the definition, where we are going to see that a surd is a number which cannot be expressed as an integer and under a root. So when you look at these and these, well, these three, you cannot find their square root, but for these two, root 4, root 8, cube root 8, you can find the direct root, which is an integer. So these are not surds, these are surds. So since this is a continuation of indices, some of the rules that are going to govern us come from indices, especially this first one, this third one, and then this fourth one. This second one is just going to allow us simplify, okay, because you realize that this and this is common. It's like here it is pulled out of the bracket, and this only works when we have plus or a minus. For these other cases, root AB is the same as this, which this root can distribute. Okay, this root is like a power, so that's why I'm saying this is something from indices. Okay, so it can distribute under multiplication. Same goes when it is under division. Okay, then now here, when you have root a times root a, that one gives you a. So now we are going to see our first examples. These are our first examples. So please look at them closely. Then I'll start working. So I'm going to do part A, part C, and part D. Then part B will be left for you. Okay. So part A. Our major aim is to simplify. Okay. And so we are going to look for two numbers that we can multiply to get 24. But one of those two numbers should have a direct root, or maybe to say one of those numbers should be a square number. So when I think about it, the two numbers are going to be 6 and 4. So now, like we said in one of our rules, that the root here can distribute such that we have root 6 times root 4. But we know for sure that root 4 actually gives us 2. So we shall have root 6 times 2. So this number is outside the root, this is inside the root, they can't multiply. So I'll finally write 2 root 6. That is our first. So from what we have seen in our first example, we are going to use it on every term here, okay, so that we simplify. So it's the same that we are going to do. We are going to look at 50. Think about two numbers whereby one of them is a square number. So it will be root 25 times 2 minus. Now, for the rest, we are going to think about a number, same as what we have done here, is square number times another one which is not a square number, which for this case is 49 times 2 minus. For this one, it is going to be a 4 times a 2. So what you observe here is that I can distribute the root on these two terms because I have multiplication. We said the root distributes only when you have multiplication and division. So this is going to be root 25 times root 2 minus root 49 times root 2, then minus root 4 times root 2. So these first terms here have a direct root. So I can say that this one is 5 times root 2 minus 7 times root 2 minus 2 times root 2. Now, what do you observe here? You observe that the root 2 is common. Before we go there, you realize that this is the same as 5 root 2 minus 7 root 2 minus a 2 root 2. So, since the root 2 is common, I can pull it out. It is a common factor, or it is a common term, so it goes outside the bracket. Well, here we shall remain with 5 after taking away this, minus, here we shall remain with a 7, minus, here we shall remain with a 2. So, this is going to be done using a calculator. So, you punch it in a calculator and you say 5 minus 7 minus 2. This one is going to give us a minus 4, and again we have our root 2. So that is the solution, and it is very well simplified. So like I said, this one will be yours to do, okay? So I'm going to do for you this one. Now, same knowledge. Think about two numbers. I have 9, I have 5, plus 3. Here we have a 3, that's the difference with the previous example. So before we alter the 3, think about this one. We shall have a 4 times a 5. So what you realize is that the first number here, the first non-square number here, is going to be common in the rest. So it will give you a hint such that you get other square numbers here. So you realize that I will get this first non-square number divided by 20, I will get 4. So meaning that the two numbers will be 4 and 5. So we do the same for this 80. When you get 5 divided by 80, you get 16. So here we shall put 16 times 5. So we shall have root 9 times root 5 plus 3 root 4 times root 5 minus root 16 times root 5. Going ahead, this one will give us a 3 times root 5 plus, now here you have a 3, it is multiplying the root of 4. So this will be a 2, then times root of 5 minus, this one gives us a 4 times root of 5. This 3 will only multiply a number which is not under a square root. So, and we have seen root 4 gives us 2. So this one will remain as 3 root 5. This one will be 6 now. 6 root 5 minus, now this one is going to be 4 root 5. So, like we said, you realize that root 5 is common, so it can always move out. And then we form a bracket of 3 plus 6 minus 4. Root 5 was common, so it moves out of a bracket. So these ones will be done from the calculator. Yes, so this will be a 5 root 5, and that is the answer. So that's it for our first video for Surds. This is Surds 1. Don't forget to subscribe below there, and then hit the like button, also share with other students. Thank you very much.